I'm CD, and this here's my friend Eraser.
What?
We're here to guide you.
That's not true. That's impossible.
You need to, like, search your feelings and stuff, because it's totally true.
You're going slightly mad.
Huh?
All too easy. Guten Tag, Damen und Herren. Your host is, for the moment, unavailable. I, whom you will address as Herr Commandant, will continue in his stead. Today, we cover Plato's Republic, a certain favorite of mine. But first, a little storytelling is in order. Socrates was sentenced to death. His apprentice Plato was present at the execution, and, along with 3 of his friends, begged and pleaded for the life of their teacher, even going so far as to offer a bribe. But when this failed, they were forced to watch Socrates die. We can easily imagine Plato's response as being similar to this. In a moment of despicable human weakness, Plato grieved for his teacher, and vowed on the grave of Socrates to continue work in philosophy, that it might be made more comprehensive than the ramblings of a bunch of pre-Socratic cavemen. He travelled for a time, and when he returned to Greece, he founded a school of philosophy, which he called the Academy, which is where we get the term academics from. But now, on to business. We begin our examination of Plato's moral theory with an argument against relativism. This argument was aimed at the sophists, the old enemies of Plato's beloved teacher, Socrates. The sophists would have you believe that there is no absolute morality beyond human convention. Plato pointed out that if this was the case, then it would be impossible to judge the morality of a particular society. For example, we would be unable to prove the good works of Abraham Lincoln as being good, just as we would be unable to prove that the Nazis were wrong to commit acts of mass genocide. After all, according to the relativists, the Nazis' actions merely reflected the values and laws of their society. I, for one, wouldn't call the Nazis evil as much as I would call them stupid. Why would you attempt to destroy a large percent of your own population shortly before declaring war on the entire world? Why not just blow up a few of your own factories while you're at it? And why would you try to kill the very people who could have given you the atomic bomb? Why? It's stupid! Warum? Warum haben Sie das gemacht, Sie Idioten? Warum? Warum? What the fuck? I'm sorry about that. I just get so, how do you say, worked up about such things. According to Plato, there are 3 individual elements that make up the entirety of the human soul. The first is the appetites, the part of you that wants base things like sex and food, and to gorge yourself like a pig until you end up like the McDonald's kid. The second is your reason, the part of you that controls logic, basically your inner Spock. And finally, there is your spirit, the willful, dynamic part of your soul, your inner courage wolf. And how do these elements interact with one another inside of a person? That question is at the heart of Plato's moral theory. In his work Phaedrus, Plato presents the dynamic vision of a chariot being pulled by 2 horses, being driven by reason. But I'm not going to go into that, because I believe that in my brilliance I have found a better way, a more understandable way of explaining it to your teeny tiny World of Warcraft addicted brains. People do still play World of Warcraft, yeah? In the typical fantasy gaming setting, you have 3 classes to choose from: warriors, mages, and rogues. These three classes best illustrate the Platonic virtues of spirit, reason, and appetite. Just as every good party needs an even composition of classes, every soul needs an even composition of the Platonic virtues. The typical warrior embodies the proud and courageous nature of a strong spirit. But no warrior can face the enemy alone, and just as the mage helps to provide support in battle, so does the reason help to keep spirit under control. As useful as the warrior and mage are, they lack the special skill set of the rogue. The rogue can unlock closed doors and chests, and the primary motivation of this character is greed and self-preservation, which is not a bad thing. The appetite does remind you that you do need to eat, and you do need to take care of yourself. Anyone who has ever played a class-based RPG will tell you that having an even composition of classes in your party is essential for victory. You can't have nothing but warriors running around, those brainless, damaged sponges. And you cannot have too strong of a spirit lest you become brash and heedless of danger.
Let's do this! Leroy Dragons!
You cannot have a party completely comprised of mages. They are too soft and squishy. You can't let reason make all of your decisions without first taking counsel with spirit and appetite. And just as you can't have too many rogues around, they are not so good in combat. You can't live completely as a slave to your appetites. But now that you understand the three virtues,
You do understand, don't you?
we can move on to something that I think is just a tad more interesting. Political philosophy, which is the primary focus of Plato's Republic. Now, if the well-balanced ideal individual is made up of the three Platonic virtues, should not the same be said of an entire government? For are not a government and an individual much the same, the only difference being that the government is on a larger scale? Plato had the idea that the ideal well-balanced government should be also made up of Platonic virtues, the virtues being represented by classes: a ruling class, reason; a laboring class, appetite; and an enforcing class, spirit. This division of labor would make the task of running a government just a bit less manic than the one we've got going on now, if you have the misfortune of living in the United States of good old America. Plato's Republic was a meritocracy. If you were good at something, that is what you were going to do. Children would be taken at an early age and subjected to rigorous aptitude tests. If a child excelled in any one particular area, that is what that child's career was going to be. I don't envy the child whose gift in life was poop shoveling. At any rate, Plato's Republic was not without its theoretical problems. In the same work in which he outlined the Republic, Plato also foresaw several problems, mostly having to do with imbalances in the classes. For example, if the intellectuals, the ruling class, gained too much power, there would be a tyranny, a timocracy. If the guardians, the warriors, the policemen, the military, gained too much power, then
Let's do this! Leroy Dragons!
But the most notable scenario in Plato's eyes was what if the laboring classes gained too much power. This would result in a democracy! Plato hated democracy, primarily because it promotes the giving of power to the incompetent. Have you ever thought to yourself that parents should be forced to take a test before they can have children? The same idea applies to government. Would you rather live in a meritocracy like Plato's Republic, where only the capable and competent are allowed to rule, or a democracy, where the poop shoveler could potentially become president? I think the answer is obvious, yeah? At any rate, Plato's primary gripe with democracy was it was the will of the people that mattered, and people are stupid. People voted to have Socrates killed. Democracy is an unstable system where the squeaky wheel always gets the grease. But the squeaky wheel might not be what the government needs. Oh, shut up, Eve. I'm almost done. You know, this has got me thinking about what my ideal government will be like. It will be similar to Plato's Republic with a few minor differences, the first of which, of course, is that I will be supreme leader, not some mammy-pammy class. Ah, yes, it will be glorious. For me, of course, not for you. If you refuse to obey me, you will be sent to obedience camps. Ah, I can see it all now. All the brainless jocks who picked on me in high school will be sent to work and die in the mines. The most attractive women in the country will be forced to serve in my personal guard. Goose stepping will be the new national sport. Und Mein Kommandant by Hansel und Gretel will be the new national anthem. Yeah, my time is coming. But it is not yet. James? Consider this a friendly warning. I, and those who will come after me, do not look kindly upon what you have been doing. Until then, loving public. Auf Wiedersehen.
What just happened?
You just got your show hijacked, that's what.
I'm going slightly mad. I'm going slightly mad. It finally happened. It finally happened. Oh yes, it finally happened.